Okay, they're perfect. Okay, so today's meeting is regarding this energy accelerator. I guess there's a few different names for this, but Kyle, you're the one that shared this technology with me first of all, and I've known Kyle and worked with Kyle for the past, how long has it been, Kyle? Probably about 2 years or so, I guess.
Yeah, about 2 years.
About 2 years. Then Kyle started working with Tim on these different sustainable projects. Kyle is currently over in Africa, as you heard here. He's meeting with some government officials over there, and we all, again, all have this interest of sharing different technologies and sorting out what's real, what's not, what's the best, what's not. So, Kyle, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, absolutely. So, GIG Green Infra Group, we have a couple different technologies that we have direct access to the manufacturer or the inventor. One of them being a water atmospheric generator, some concrete technology, and our favorite one is the energy amplifier. So this inverter or amplifier, whatever you want to call it, it uses resonance technology, and all that's inside this box is basically just copper wires. And it's able to, so if we put in a kilowatts of solar or wind or anything from the grid, so any sorry, it's been a long long week.
Seed power.
Yeah, pre-seed power. Thank you, Tim. Seed power from any generation, so we could hook our amplifier up to that and then amplify it about, I would say, 5 to 8 times. So if we put in 1 kilowatt from solar, we can amplify it right there on the spot to about 5 to 8 kilowatts. So this machine can be made for as small as a kilowatt size all the way up to gigawatts. And has been around for about 10 years, has been proven for 10 years. It's been installed all throughout Korea. We have university tests that we can show anyone. And yeah, that is that. Peter's a lot better at explaining it than I am.
When will Peter be available?
Let me grab him real quick. Let me see. Give me 1 second.
I mean, it seems like over 10 years and all throughout Korea that this thing would have really, really taken off by now.
Well, I don't know if I'd say all throughout Korea, right? Because these people have been making these by hand, right? So imagine stranding copper coils in a very specific pattern, by hand. I don't imagine that's a fast process. So I do know they have a lot of commercial clients, but they're not about being loud and drawing attention to themselves. It's just not the approach that they've taken.
Understandable.
Not everybody that invents something is interested in money.
Yeah, I mean, you could see by the video, if you guys watched it, he was really excited about his invention and what they're doing there in the lab. And he just didn't have global aspirations. So can't blame a guy for that.
That's why he needs people like us, right?
That's right.
Has he decided to take that plunge? Is that what was the inspiration for opening up the doors to the international exposure? Does anyone know?
Well, I think that's Peter's area. When he got a hold of this tech, sourced a machine and found a machine that can actually do this automatically and build these units. And he'd been working towards all these different technologies and infrastructure and working with African nations, and he's got a lot of power purchase agreements, and this technology just like it's a must-have at this point, right? If we're going to be fulfilling gigawatts of power, it'd certainly be nice to have the most advanced technology on the planet, regardless of global exposure to yourself or not. Got to get this stuff out.
So you're saying now they were doing it by hand before, now they have something, a way of.
No, they're still doing it by hand down there.
All right, Peter's hopping in.
Awesome.
Yeah, currently they're still being done by hand, but Peter had found a machine, I believe out of Switzerland. There he is. He can explain.
Hello, Peter.
Hi there. Sorry for being late. We are at dinner with our colleagues.
Hello. Hi, Peter.
That's awesome.
Hi.
Looked like a nice setting out there. You guys having that dinner? You
Yeah,
guys were
well,
enjoying yourself. I was having a peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, talked to Kyle on his breakfast this morning.
Hey,
Yeah.
Peter, are you able to turn your video on? Or
Oh, sorry.
yeah, it's
There,
dark.
it's dark, so I don't know if I'll find
you
a
need solar
little bit more
power
lights.
there.
Yeah, that's what we're working on.
So Peter, you were in the 20-minute video. That was you, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I was really aware that it was taped. That was told to me later on. So we just did a regular presentation as we usually do.
Sounds like something I would do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I would have made myself pretty at least.
well, tell us a little about the technology, besides what we saw in the video there, and how you came across it, please.
Well, when the pandemic struck, I was at that point in time I was working in Stockholm, so I'd fly out to Stockholm every Sunday evening and come back on Thursdays. But when we all got locked down, we had to terminate that contract, obviously, because we couldn't be there working with them. So we started talking with our colleagues and to try to see how we could, well, help with the pandemic. So we started buying gloves and masks and things like this for the hospitals in Finland. It was a big hype back then. And this one day I came across a gentleman from South Korea, and we got talking. He was offering COVID tests. They just came out at that point of time, Korea made, and his idea was pretty similar like ours. Let's just help out and get this thing over with so we can go back to our normal lives. So we got talking more, because at that point in time was already involved with some Swedish people that were involved with graphene battery technology, which I assume you are familiar with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Heard of it.
So yeah, I assumed so much. So then he told me, okay, the graphene battery is very interesting, because his college buddy is the CEO of Samsung, not for the shop in the mall, but the whole Samsung, the Samsung company. And he said that they are very interested in making some kind of license agreement with these Swedish partners of ours. So we started to work on that a little bit, and after a couple of weeks, well, we started speaking with this gentleman. His name is Hanki. So me and Hanki, we got on every morning, planning out that thing, and then he started talking about some energy amplification system. I was like, okay. I called my engineer and said, that's impossible. You cannot create energy if no material is being used. It's totally impossible. So as soon as it was possible to travel again, our CEO, my former colleague, he's retired now, Dr. Ramstein, he flew out to Korea. So after 3 days, he called me and said, God damn it, this bloody thing is working, and it's working very well. I was, interesting. So of course I asked him, did you check so there's no cord going into the system or anything? Yeah, everything is totally legit. So he stayed for 10 more days. So they tested and tested and tested. We consulted one of my other friends, professor at the University of Vasa. and he told us a little bit on how to test it in a different way. What the purpose there was, I don't really remember, but it had something to do with the amps and such. And he was astonished as well. This is breaking laws of physics.
Mm.
So we decided then to invite these guys to Finland, and we told them, okay, you send a unit by DHL, and we'll hook it up at the university. And this time we chose a different university, the University of Vasa. We used one in the southern parts of Finland. And then I just decided, let's take another university as well. So we have 2 different universities verifying this. So that we did. I invited over 200 guests to see the spectacle. CEOs from energy companies, engineers, professors, PhDs, and everybody was just, what the hell is this? This is magic.
And no cord.
So we had no cord, and we actually decided to do it the hard way. So the day prior to the testing, we did 3 days of testing. We went to a shop close to Helsinki, and we bought batteries, just regular batteries. I think they were even meant for marine use. And then we just got these cheapo panels from a local shop. And that's what we connected to the generator.
Okay.
I bought a battery with whatever super properties, something like that. So we just used local stuff. We bought 3 panels of 300 watts each. And we had 4 batteries. Well, you've seen the test report. And actually the 3 panels were too much because it was the smallest system of 1 kilowatt. So we ended up using only the 1 panel. So a 300 watt panel, you're supposed to get about 50 watts from that one. Okay, it's about 15% that you can actually extract from the panel. And we drove a 1.8 kilowatt heater fan for 9 hours each day. Explain that.
Chris, you know a lot about electrical.
I know enough to ask a few questions. I would not, I'm not an electrical engineer, it's not my profession. But I would be curious. So there's, the legend is on Nikolai Tesla that he took like a Model T Ford, and you know, I don't know if any of you guys have seen this in America, when if somebody's radio antenna for their car is broken off, you can stick a wire coat hanger into the hole. I mean, I've seen that zillion. I almost had to do it myself once, but
Pretty white trashy.
I scraped up enough money to fix the antenna. But point is that it works. Okay. And it is said that Nikolai Tesla was able to put the equivalent of a wire coat hanger, you know, as an antenna and run a Model T off of electricity. Was just pulling right out of the atmosphere, because he was obviously pure genius in terms of understanding that our bodies are little electrical engineering engines, or you know, generators, and that the planet, the atmosphere, is everything around us is an energy field. So there must be some way that this device is interfacing with the energy field, because there's no, if it's not connected to an energy source and it's generating energy, where else could it be coming from? That's my
I'll tell you how it works. What you explained right now, that's completely true. That's exactly how it works. We actually have a large investment company from Abu Dhabi. They do this. They have magnetic arches that are quite large, and they just extract energy from the atmosphere. And they set this up all over the world right now. They invest heavily in this one, so it works definitely. But this device does not work like this. It has totally different function. But what you describe now is a very old technology that has been used for hundreds of years, ever since we discovered copper. Electroculture, for instance, you have those arches in your garden, and whatever you plant, it just grows like crazy. That's the kind of energy you are speaking of. But how this device works It's a large condenser. It's actually very simple, because when I saw it the first time, I asked them to open it, and I said, "What? This is it?" Because it was a couple of circuit boards, a little bit of wires, and then a large condenser that would be about 12 centimeters in diameter. So condenser you have in all home appliances, radio, amplifier, TVs, everything that needs a change of current. And usually a condenser is made by 6 thin copper threads that are wound together, round, like this. Okay, but this device that these guys have, it has 16 threads and thicker ones. So what they do is they use resonance. Resonance the same way we communicate with satellites. We amplify the signal so we go all the way up to space where it needs to go, so we can get that information from the satellite at all times. So it's not new in any way. The only thing is that they came up with how to amplify the electrons. So what happens is when these copper wires are very close to each other, they drive the electrons in different speeds, from 400 hertz to 800 hertz. So when they pass each other in these wires, one coming from one direction, the other one from the opposite direction, in different speeds, we have static current occur. So the extra energy is captured in the system because the generator is connected to the battery system. Our system needs to have a battery. That's where the extra energy creation happens. So when you start to draw energy from the system, if the batteries are full, and when the current drops, the generator starts producing more energy. So if you don't extract everything from the system, it's kind of wasted because it goes into idle and doesn't create any more energy as long as the batteries are full. So this is how it happens. So it's fairly simple, really.
It's fairly simple, really.
Yeah. Well, if
I
you
understand
rub a
it's
balloon,
fairly simple in concept, but the end result is anything but simple.
well, if you rub a balloon against the carpet, it will stick to your head. That's static energy.
Okay, we're not going
just
to
that they
have the
came up
condom
with how
jokes that we had yesterday. We're not going to do that.
we can have those another day. Yeah, but that's
So-
how it works. That's how it works.
Look,
And the more
there's
energy
got-
you
there has
need,
to
the
be an
more generators you have.
explanation. So I don't think it's breaking the laws of physics. It's testing our knowledge of physics, but it's not breaking them, okay? If it's generating energy somehow, just because we can't explain how it's doing that, based on at least the people on this call, doesn't mean that it isn't generating energy and it isn't doing it within the laws of physics. It's just not within the known laws or the known.
Exactly, the laws that have been taught to us.
Right.
This is why they shut Tesla
this
up.
is one of the biggest reasons that this hasn't, like this whole Korean, that people are making them all by hand in Korea. Korea is a very advanced country, extremely. I mean, they have the Koreans and the Japanese and the Ashkenazi Jews are the highest IQs in the world, right?
Yep.
So they're very, very capable people. And they're very good at international business, but not everybody cares about international business. Not everybody in Korea that's making one of these is thinking, man, all that pollution they're making over in LA will go away if they just have this, right? They're not thinking that way. Okay, we are.
Well, the reason why
our job is to figure out how, if I'm speaking for everybody. We did this a bunch yesterday. Our job is, obviously we're businessmen and we're operating from a moral compass. We have a value for the outcome, which will help the average person get clean energy. Because clean energy isn't just for corporations and isn't just for profit. It's literally for the benefit of everyone, right? So if we have a motive of figuring out how to scale this in such a way that it is profitable, because I'm not ready to volunteer to do this, okay? It's got to be profitable, and we have to come up with a way to bring the baby out to market and not get killed doing it. Okay, and I mean literally. Well, again, we're back to the same conversation we had yesterday. At least from my perspective, I see something that's completely a game changer that is under the radar of a lot of the players that would want to buy it stick it on a shelf and tell everybody, here's a bunch of money to go shut up, right? Because that's how the world works on that end. So it's the same thing, exactly as what I said yesterday. I don't know that you were on the call, Nikki or Nick. You weren't, I don't believe, but that was a conversation we had about another product yesterday.
So,
Well, I've been at this for a very long time now, so everything you are saying is completely correct. We have found a way how to keep it under the radar. We know exactly how to manufacture it in bulk. We know exactly how to protect the innovation. We are doing that right now. The reason to why it's not on the market yet is because this gentleman has been using his profits to develop a whole bunch of other products based on the generator, like water heaters and all these kind of items that consume a lot of energy. So the sole reason to why it's not on the market and why we have this opportunity today to actually take it to market is because he never could afford to make a worldwide patent. And then patenting is another thing that patent paper, you basically, it's good enough to wipe your ass with. It doesn't do anything else for you. So what we are doing, we are making the full IPR on the product, not just the IPR on the product itself. We are IPRing the method of amplifying energy with high resonance. So anybody that would make a similar device, paint it red or blue or change an atom bolt that you can do to alter a patent, can't do it because it's the method how you create energy that is going to be IPR'd, and that intellectual property now belongs to us. We offered it to the Koreans to do it for them. They didn't believe in it. They wanted $200 million to make a worldwide patent, which is totally ridiculous because having a patent doesn't allow you to install it anywhere. If you don't have the electrical safety certificates and all the other certificates and standards that go with it, you can't install it anywhere. And you can definitely not hook it up to the grid. So what I'm telling you today is, you know how it works, but the narrative on the product itself will be something else. We will just base it on a 24/7 battery solution, but we will not officially go out and tell anybody that we can amplify energy 10 times. And
When do you
actually,
plan on-
a small secret for you guys, it doesn't do 10 times, it does 16 times, but we try to keep it a little bit on the low.
Peter, Stephen Chase here. Thank you for taking the call. I was curious to know, what are your plans over the next 3, 6 months and a year when you plan on bringing the product to market? And if you have any plans in place for United States manufacturing?
Yes, we do. We're actually talking to a couple of groups. The energy business is so massive, so everybody is going to be necessary for this. So what we're going to do is we are going to buy a license state per state. I haven't understood that there are some states that are not really wise to do manufacturing in because of the taxation. I've heard that Nevada and some other states are that's where it pans out to make this generator, but that's what we're going to do. But once we get the product off the production line, we will just install it into projects. We will not like bring it to electrical appliance shop for the homeowner to buy it. Not until we have done the full IPR on it. And full IPR, I mean, we can use this to amplify energy that comes from wind or hydro or any other mean of seed energy. We are going to IPR all of them, so we own that combination. Once that has been done, it will take about 2 to 3 years, and we have built enough manufacturing plants. Then we will take it to the open market, because then it's already, the device will be in so many places already that even if the monopoly and the people that don't want to see it, there's not so much they can do about it, because it will always already be hundreds of thousands of people working with the device around it, installing, manufacturing, transporting, blah, blah, blah. Then it's already too late.
Are you at liberty to say 2 areas for the United States? Are you at liberty to speak about, do you have government contracts or government contracting in place? If not, I'd love to further that conversation with you.
No, we
Number
are
2
trying to stay away from the government contracts as far as possible.
Absolutely, that's a
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
route.
So people we are
The
talking to,
government is
they are the
filled with people
crypto
that serve
miners.
private industry. There's no safe way to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
private
You were saying,
sector.
Peter?
So crypto miners, the weed growers, industrial complexes, we'll just go in and give them all the energy they
Organic
need because
gardeners,
ours is
organic
24.
food
Yeah,
producers.
yeah, yes.
Let's just create, I mean, let's
Farmers.
support the alternative economy. Right?
That's
Let's
exactly
stay
right.
This
out
is our
of
intention.
federal oversight of any kind. Just
Yes,
go
Well, we
kill
can
it.
help people with that on many levels. We
Right.
do private membership associations, trusts. We're creating a product and a project called the Parallel Society. So when you just said that, you know, we're trying to create a parallel system because we can't fix what's broken. We just got to replace it with our own stuff.
exactly.
Do you know a nurse from New York named Nancy?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Peter,
I know
question.
somebody that's doing something. You just triggered something. I thought maybe we have a friend in common
Huh.
on that comment, but
Yeah, Peter, just a quick question. Sorry, Chris, but
go ahead.
so you're in Africa. You're working with you're working with Nigeria currently.
No, we're not.
Are there African countries that you're working with right now?
Tanzania.
Well, we're in Tanzania right now in Dar es Salaam. We have a big project in Namibia. It's $72 billion. We have another one in Kenya. That's $53 billion. So here we are actually working with the governments because they have seen through the globalist agenda. They understand what's happening.
Okay.
So most of these countries have now applied for BRICS nations membership. As you know, they're trying to create a new central bank.
All right.
You're kissing the
And,
you're kissing
yeah,
the
we don't
south
need to go
end
into
of
politics anymore than
$100
that.
billion in business right now.
Yes. Well, it's way more than that, but these are, we have about 20 of these projects, and all of these nations will have their own manufacturing facilities. So it will be made locally by locals. And then we have the European project, of course, but that's a whole other story. That's massive. Probably know the problematics of Germany right now. They don't have gas because of the war in Ukraine. So they're really suffering over there.
That's your next. Is that another separate silo for your mission? Is Germany?
Well,
then Ukraine,
we have partners over there that are working on that. Very powerful people that know the German auto houses. This technology can obviously be put into an electric car.
Mhm.
So the 12 kilowatt system, if you would put into EV, regular Tesla S model, you could drive 1,200 kilometers per day without charging.
That's just insanity. Absolutely.
Yes.
insanity.
All he needs is a little graphene in
Yes.
your tires so they never wear out. And
Well, now coming to that,
that
the guy that
that
I
you
worked
mentioned that.
with from Sweden, Mr. Krista Källström, they're still, they are about to conclude his work at Chalmers University in Gothenburg. So his graphene battery is ready to go into production, but as I understand, you already have it. So I've spoken with the CEO of the company. Christopher himself passed away a year and a half ago from
Sorry to hear
cancer, unfortunately. Yeah, that was very unfortunate. Christopher was a brilliant man. We called him Mr. Nokia because back in the day when the Nokia mobile company was just growing, they called him in and they said they needed a new solution. So what Krista did is he developed a new system when the 3110 came out. And that's how Nokia were able to acquire over 60% market share in the mobile market. That battery was made by this gentleman. His company, they are members of the National Graphene Institute in Manchester since 2017. But you obviously are already on the on the production, pushing product every day. So here's an interesting fact. The batteries we used for testing in Finland was regular lead acid batteries. And they are quite, how should I say?
Basic.
It's thick material. It's thick material. It has high resistance. So Dr. Cho at the factory in Korea, he made some calculations and drew me up something that was really astonishing. He says that the generator, if it works with a battery that has almost no resistance, you probably know which product I'm talking about. His theory is that the 10 times more energy would be times 10. So for one single watt, we could make it to 100 watts. With a graphene battery. So this is something that we need to start testing immediately.
Ryan, I'm sure that graphene battery is on the way already, right?
Yes, our developer that's going to be back in the United States in about 3 days. You have not.
Yeah, a little bird told me.
Well, so
Is it a
was probably
African toucan?
it was
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
about I guess is Kyle still with us on the call or no? I don't think so, is he?
I don't know.
I don't see
Doesn't
him.
look like Kyle's on.
So I introduced Kyle to another Tim who
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, hey Kyle, remember when I introduced you to Tim with the the graphene battery a while ago, and they were really interested in this technology months ago? What did he say back then, or what was the outcome of that conversation?
No, he was very ready to go. He just needed to get the funds to get started on everything, and I don't know if he's gotten funds yet.
Kyle, let me take this one. I can respond to that. I actually spoke with Tim Moore quite a number of times. And the last call we had was we were starting to discuss the business model. Obviously, I believe in as well that everything was on the go and so on and so on. And his business model was to sell the battery. Sell. And I tried to make him understand that a product like that cannot be sold per se. It needs to go into projects to keep it on the radar for as long as possible, just for the reasons as the generator, it's too efficient. Some people don't want it. If the money isn't flowing into their pockets, they're not going to want it. This is why I'm saying no government project for except the Africans that we know we can trust. Otherwise, it's just private, or our own energy production, where we become the utility company and sell it directly to the customer. That's the industrial clients, the weed growers, the crypto people, and blah, blah, blah. So I told Timur, sorry, we can't do business together because your business model is not ours. Because he refused to understand why that product can get him into trouble if he just keeps selling it everywhere.
Shit, I'm nervous
That's
just
not-
being on this call.
It's not the right way to do it. Not until we have enough production, the product is in enough places for, well, the establishment to understand that, yeah, now it's too late. It's already out there.
Yeah, I know.
well, when other nations start beating them in commerce because they're not paying for power and they can produce really, really cheap products, open some eyeballs.
Well, already
Oh,
now, the
One
generator.
of the biggest problems is that they don't want to have cheap products made in America because, if they can kill off the middle class and there's in America, then there's nobody left to stand up to the globalists. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
The American middle class is the last bulwark against total annihilation of free people.
Well, there's
in
a
the
few
world.
of us in Europe too.
I'm not saying that you don't count, okay? I'm as in terms of a sizable body that has resources and awareness, the American middle class is the biggest block of people that could stand up for people in Finland and people in Nigeria and people in Tanzania.
Yeah.
And it's shrinking
Yeah.
every day.
Pete,
Well, it might be growing though too. I mean, it depends on how you want to take that angle, but
Yeah, right.
This is
Well-
a very interesting conversation. What I have, I'd like to know, I think I interrupted you, Pete, but and I apologize, but I wanted to point something out there. Were you done, or can I go to a question?
Who, me? I was done. Yeah, you can ask
Okay.
questions.
So you mentioned that you were talking to somebody and you said, oh, okay, we can't do business with you.
That was
and-
Tim.
Okay. Is it a Tim I know, Ryan?
No one can do business with Tim. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that.
Okay, understood.
That's the Tim.
Yeah. Okay. So that
Giving me a
explains a
bad
lot.
name.
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that. Okay, that clears things up. So what I'm curious, so I'm sitting here facing the challenge of like, okay, I would like to do business with you and pursue how to get this to market, but the simple fundamentals of capitalism are that there has to be a certain amount of revenue that flows through and some that stays, or you're freaking volunteering. And then how do you feed yourself? So I'm interested in this, but I have to have a deeper understanding of the fundamentals, because I didn't really follow what you were saying about how this thing does, and there's no visuals. And I don't want to take anybody's idea. I just want to understand it. And the other thing is, what exactly is your business model? Because we were already thinking, I know Rise pretty well in terms of how he thinks. We were already like, how do we scale this and get it? Everything's got to be under the radar. This has to be a subterranean process, or all of a sudden Exxon shows up at your door with a briefcase, right? I mean, it's just, that's the kind of crap that happens. So how do we understand what you want? I'm flattered to be invited to this call, and this back-to-back 2 days in a row, mind-blowing technology is getting presented to me. What I'm curious is, what do you want and how could we help you?
Well, I've realized that the energy business is so massive on a global scale that there's room
It's the
for
biggest
everybody.
industry.
Yes. So we created a franchise model, which is fairly simple. We go in and we hope that we find good funders that can give us a little bit of capital, and then we'll build a factory together. An assembly factory of 200 megawatts. I can explain this on another call because that gets more technical. So the need for funding for one factory is $15 million. Then we can start manufacturing the generator, and we can start selling it partners, franchise funding partners that makes these projects for us. So of the $15 million investment, we have a profit of 62 million per year. Up till the day when we can have more than 10 factories, because then we were buying such large amounts of components that the profit will increase by half. Hold on, guys, just a moment.
He said 50.
Father, are you leaving?
No, I'm going upstairs. I'm coming back.
Okay, excellent.
5 minutes.
Excellent.
50, correct? Pete?
15.
Okay.
That's for the machine and the license cost, the tools, the building that we need, warehouse, the factory where we will build the generator. So 15. And each year when the 200 megawatts sold out, we are left with 62 million in profit. Okay, and this we do as a partnership, 50-50. We own it together, produce it together.
So at 62 million, how many units need to be produced?
We don't measure it in units, we measure it in megawatts. It can be
Okay.
a 1 kilowatt unit or a 50 megawatt unit. So it's the amount of capacitors that can be woven with this machine that we need for it.
So that's roughly 200 megawatts.
200 megawatts of capacity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would pair with a graphene battery really nicely then.
Yes, exactly.
Moving forward, we'll definitely, I'd love to connect you directly with Mike, Pete. to talk about this technology? I don't know if you've spoken to the inventor of our graphene battery at all.
I have not. The only one I've spoken with have been Tim.
Okay, yeah, no more of that.
No,
Yeah, Ryan,
Thank
this
you.
is a good addition to the 300 billion euro scenario for the factory. This is really nice for that.
Yeah, for sure. Just really quickly, also, is Nick still with us? Yeah, Nick's still with
Nick's
us.
here.
Yeah, just a quick introduction. Nick. Nick is, there's an African nation being. Did Nick just drop off? Was that Nick?
Yeah, he actually did just drop off,
Oh.
but you were about to speak about Bert. It's all right. I'm working with him with the innovation for Bert to Will.
Oh, okay. So there's-
gentlemen, I'll mute myself for just for a couple of minutes.
sure, no problem.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, so Chase and his business partner Nick, who I've been working with for the past few months now, they're actually working with a project in Africa where I guess was a pre-existing country back in the day called Kush, and now they're reviving and bringing this country back. So you want to speak about that for while we're waiting for Pete to come back, Stephen?
I'll let Nick speak on it because he just spoke to Dr. Stephen. And
If I can interrupt for 1 second, Tim, that's the
Ooh.
project that Promise is working on as well, just so you know.
Are you
Right.
serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, this is Tina, one of our team members.
Where'd she come from?
Hi, nice to meet you. Oh, I've been here.
She's been looking in the shadows, little fly on the wall.
Wait a
All
second.
right.
Wait a second. What did you said that so quickly, Tina? What is the association with that project you had mentioned?
So Promise, which is a entertainment guy that we have that we've worked with, he's actually working on that project as well. He's direct with the guy that's actually in charge of all of that for that, because they're building that Kush. It's calling it the Kingdom of Kush, right?
Correct. Yes. Uh-huh.
It's you know, Bert to Will for you know, Kingdom of Kush, you know, the negative connotation, etc. Bert to Will was the forward thinking name the last I heard, and that wasn't too long ago. But you know, there's a lot of people internationally on this team on working on, and when I mean a lot, they already have 30 different locations internationally. Forget about Bert to Will by itself.
Well, you're talking about a physical sovereign country in Africa?
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. Between
Okay, so
Egypt and Sudan.
is this a
at the
reference to
border.
the biblical, you know, Old Testament nation of Cush?
Kush, a 1,000-year-old nation. That's
Well,
what we're talking
would
about.
be more than 1,000, but what is the nation that it would be in now? I mean,
The border of Egypt and Sudan.
okay.
Well,
Right.
that was
South
the controversy
Sudan-
and why it is
South
right now.
Sudan basically is Cush.
And on the border of Egypt and Sudan, there was a territory dispute years ago when the lines were made, and different the different countries had different positions at different times, and it was never resolved. So it ended up becoming this standalone, isolated, unclaimed piece of land. And because it's landlocked and it's 400 miles from the Red Sea, no one really claimed it. It's just in the middle of the desert, zero resources, etc. So there was a lot of negotiation, a lot of unfortunately what just happened in Sudan recently kind of put a pause on a few things, but you know, still moving forward. This has been actively going on for some time. There have been team members on this for years and years and years. And I was just brought on recently within the half year. So we're speaking with Nick and Dr. Stevens. So at the end of the day, excuse me, at the end of the day, where we are right now is we're in those last stages, I would say, what I can say publicly, in the last stages of being able to solidify this and publicly make a few statements within the next, and I'm just going to say safely, year, but that's a lot of paint on the wall with everything that happened in Sudan.
Right, and there's actually a war right now in I can't remember the name of the location. It's between Ethiopia and Eritrea right now. It's actually bloodier than what's happening in Ukraine, but it doesn't get any news because they're the poorest people in the world right there.
Yeah, you know, I forgot about to speak to Pete. He's over there in Tanzania. We have some people with Innovation Africa, that 501c3 profit. And if anyone's on in front of the computer, innoafrica.org, just digging wells a few meters deep to provide the water, clean water resource. And then it has an Israeli drip irrigation system, depending on the funding. So great organization. If you ever get a chance to take a look at them, 100% of the proceeds goes to the actual development instead of operations,
Okay,
etc.
that you said inno.org.
Nope, innoafrica.org.
Oh,
Sivanye Bar is the CEO, founder, great woman. Great cause, left, right, up, down, whatever you want to say. Been around for years. I was a technology advisor for them for quite some time. And built out a mobile payments system built off of the excess electricity they were pulling in from some of the plants, some of the small bills they had. It's very rudimentary. It's nothing high tech, trust me. Super analog. Super analog. So nonetheless, great organization, but I have mentioned that I'd love to coordinate with some folks that are out there. He's doing great work out there in Africa. Right now they're in Malawi, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and the Congo.
Is Pete still with us right now?
yeah, he's on mute.
Yeah,
Okay,
he stepped away for a sec.
I mean, they're
He's
looking for
muted.
really good technology, so obviously this would fall underneath that.
Oh, there's our establishments are completely schools, orphanages, women's clinics, and other health facilities. It's completely for the people and with the people being involved.
It sounds like Pete's back. So I've got a hard stop in 15 minutes, 12 minutes, guys. We can continue going, but what can we do moving forward? This 15 million. Pete, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
So
Right.
how can
Hey, real quick, Peter, we're at the top. We're leaving the hotel, so can you come to us?
Okay, do you bring my stuff?
Yeah, I got your stuff.
Okay, you
Go
have my
ahead.
jacket?
Sorry. Yeah, I got everything.
All right.
All right. Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem, Pete. So I was just saying that moving forward, what is the best? What can we do to really help out with this project? Because I think we're really obviously interested in this.
Okay, so the obvious question would be, is there money?
We have money.
Okay, money to go today?
Well, I know Chase here on the call can comment on that, and I have other sources as well. Chase, can you speak of that?
Yeah, the normal due diligence process is not. We have access to 300 billion euro bond for clean energy, and one of the gentlemen that we've been working with for quite some time is interested in the other atmospheric water generators and graphene battery solutions that we have, and looking at developing factories here, manufacturing here out in the U.S. and abroad as well. I don't want to discount that, but nonetheless, first and foremost. And so I'm completely fascinated by what you have, and I wouldn't say that ready to go today, but upon due diligence, if we had people working 24/7, 365 on there, and it passes the sniff test, the funds are available. They don't need to be raised.
Okay.
I know
Can
that
somebody send me an email or what's necessary? I'll collect that information for you. See, the thing is that I don't know if we have time to go through the whole money Xerox machine we have in Canada, but I'd be happy to take you through that as well. So if there's 300 million euro, we can do a lot of fun stuff with that money.
Well, we have other access also. I know Stephen Hume's got connections in Canada. They're looking for stuff. That wouldn't be an issue for them either. A lot of us on this call can make some things happen. And then as well, let me see here. Pete, can I get your last name and email address, and I'll put this all together in a group email, please? Or just your email?
Yeah. My email. Tim?
What?
Yeah, you have my email address and all my contact information. Can you please share that with the group?
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
No problem.
Yeah, and send me an email and I'll collect all the data and information that you will need regarding this.
All right. I
Yeah.
think,
Fantastic. Thank you. Appreciate you.
man, I like the
Um,
fact this isn't a huge amount of money compared to what some of their projects are. And it seems like we can move pretty quickly with it as well.
Gentlemen, just a moment here. Excuse myself. Just we are fighting with.
Let's mute him out for a second.
Hey, Ryan, is Pete the new CEO of this company now?
Not of this technology. Is a business partner of Tim and right, Tim?
Yeah.
Okay. And so Tim, excuse me, that's your business partner, and you two now own the technology, or you and a group, excuse me, may own the technology. How is that structured, if you don't mind?
Yeah, that's probably better off for Peter to answer.
Yeah, he has
how that's
rights
structured.
to it. He has exclusive rights to it. Sorry, Tim, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but he's exclusive rights to it, and he will answer that for you. He's definitely the best person, 100%.
Oh no, I'm just curious of how the structure was, and how the introductions need to be made. Quite frankly, when they need to be made, who's the how ownership is.
Correct, and he's had a relationship for a long time, and he can elaborate on that, because it's definitely, he's got it all completely papered up, solidified. He's good to go.
Love it. Absolutely, makes everything so much easier.
Yeah, it should be really quick to be able to do your due diligence.
Thanks.
Everything's been packaged really well for that event.
Okay. So Tim, are you part of the franchise distribution pipeline here in the US? Are you aware of what's absorbed already state by state so far?
No, so I'm more involved on an auxiliary level, working with another group of people that we're all still kind of a part of, and we're helping each other out. So
Right.
I've been trying to build organizations to kind of funnel money to people that need it, without it like really being charity. I've been trying to develop things where anybody could join in and be a part of it. No matter how good or bad they do, they're going to make some money and they're going to get some help. And it's an overall project that encompasses this technology, our infrastructure projects, healing technology, all kinds of things that we just kind of want to use as a way to funnel money that would normally go to fat, greedy execs to line pockets into people's pockets that really need it. And that's more like my drive and what I work on. Why these guys are over in Africa, I'm kind of building out this bigger overall picture that encompasses all of these different verticals.
Oh man, we have to talk even more, Chris. I don't think you're gonna be able to get the three of us off a call after a while. So I think it's just gonna be insane. So that's interesting. Is it a tokenized platform so far?
I've launched a couple of token platforms and DeFi protocols, and we are considering definitely tokenizing some of these assets, these projects, some of the assets that we have in the ground in these different locations. So we definitely need to talk on that front, because there's something that we want to do.
Yeah, that seems like a complete straight play immediately, right? When you're talking about the distribution and the commonalities and the community of it.
Yeah.
And when we speak about, we always talking about provenance and really truly accountability, et cetera, and and being, quite frankly, just being extremely visible to the community. I like it. I like what you have going on. We should talk about a few different things we have going on with Ryan on another call too. I think that's Pete's back.
Sure.
It sounds like I got 5 minutes till I have to end this personally, if I can keep running, but it sounds like Pete's on the way to get out of here, so he probably needs to conclude his thoughts.
Yeah, it sounds like they're
tax
departing their
negotiations.
situation.
We've all been there in transit.
Yeah, exactly. This whole trip that they just took over to Tanzania was by surprise. They were ordered by the president to basically go meet the Ministry of Mining.
Right.
So they went to the mainland to go and meet him, and now it sounds like they're backing back up. So,
all right, good stuff, man. I mean, I'm, not to get all too hokey on the call, but it does bring a little, pulls at the heart to seeing, folks out there really making the change. So appreciate everybody on the call and everything that you guys are doing, because we're all on the call for the same reason.
yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing what's happening, and when you learn more about what we've got going, you'll even see more, just like you guys, and being out there. It'll make a difference.
That's what we want.
Yeah, there's
Let's not
more.
stop talking about it. Let's be about it. All
That's
right.
it. I'll make sure you get all the appropriate information, Ryan.
Thank you, and I'll
Yeah.
pass it on to everyone on here. Let's take a picture so I know who all's on the call right there. So, well, we got the video, so I'll make sure you guys have this link after, and let's get into more of the right hands and just keep growing this.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Nice meeting you, Pete.
Thank you,
Good
Pete.
night.
Take care.
Martina.